This is a presentation about creating developer contribution plans in Banyule and what a DCP could look like. DCPs are one of several funding mechanisms that a council can use to attract contributions from land developers. This slide gives you the overview of others, whether they be conditions on permits, voluntary agreements with developers, contributions collected through open space, commonly done through land subdivision, cash in lieu of on-site car parking, so the off-site car parking can be constructed, infrastructure charging plans for state significant locations, but in this presentation we'll focus on DCPs. DCPs are a funding mechanism for developers to make a partial contribution to the cost of infrastructure in the local area. The portion of the infrastructure cost that can be allocated to developers in a DCP depends on the rate of development over a time frame. 20 years is a good starting point. The contributions are then collected over the life of the DCP for the works that are built early on in that time frame. Consequently, in an established municipality like Banyule, the bulk of the contributions that are collected through DCPs tend to occur after the works have been built. So, a DCP can be a partial reimbursement funding tool for infrastructure works. The infrastructure works have to be described in a public works capital plan. And this capital budget, ideally if it was for 4 years, would mean that a DCP could then describe the specific works that would be built over that 4-year time frame for a contribution by developers over a 20-year time frame. Then, once that first 4 years is finished, council could choose to have a second DCP, which is then linked with another and subsequent 20-year time frame, and so on for consecutive 4-year council budgets. A DCP is created by breaking up the municipality into catchments or precincts and mapping the location of suitable DCP works within each precinct. Knowing the cost of those works and then linking them with the estimated return which comes from the projection of development in each of those precincts, it's then possible, by knowing the size of each precinct and the rate of development, to estimate the indicative charge rate for development in each of those precincts, so that each developer can then make some form of contribution towards works inside the precinct. Once all this is wrapped up into a DCP plan, it can then be enforced only after it's been put into the planning scheme. The creation of a DCP requires various things to be done, and legislative tests and government guidelines have to be followed if a DCP is to be put into the planning scheme. The government does audits of DCPs and it looks at the income that's collected, how it's spent, and the nexus between those two things and the council commitment for the construction of works. Accounting principles have to be followed. Governance administration policy should be created to advise the community and developers how a DCP will operate. A workflow model can be put together, and resource allocation can enable the day-to-day operation of a DCP, its periodic maintenance and review. On the right-hand side of this slide is an overview of those 3 workflow components. What sits across all 3 is the need for some effective resourcing, which other councils do by appointment of a DCP officer who manages and oversees the day-to-day operation of the DCP, provides for the periodic maintenance and record keeping of the DCP, tracking of the income and noting the expenditure when works are built, and then periodically reviewing the DCP, participating in government audits, and then providing the process to then establish a new DCP when council is ready to review and provide for future works. So that's an overview of DCPs and what it could mean for Banyule. I hope this has been useful.